Hey guys, well it's time for another Out of Breath Arm Sore Packer Minute, the show where I walk around the neighborhood talking about the Packers and you watch to see if, in this case, I get clubbed by a golf cart. I'm right near the golf course, just down the hill from the golf course. And I don't know if you are like me, but I just had to get on. I am so antsy about this Packers-Cowboy game. If you're like me, you've been pacing your house, trying to find something to do, and nothing worked. So I was like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to record a video and we're going to talk about the Packers. And so I hope you guys enjoy this. It is it's game day, Sunday, just before game time, although it's still a little bit before noon. So with the later game, it's not really just before game time, but I just can't stop thinking about this game. I'm walking by the creek. Hopefully that'll calm me down a little bit. I can't imagine being a player in this game because I'm nervous, and I'm not going to be anywhere near Arlington today. But yeah, it's all on the line. It's win or go home, folks, and the Packers are used to this. We have been in this situation for half of the season, but this matchup is going to be as tough as it gets. Playing in Arlington, Dallas on their home turf, able to beat the Packers at Lambeau during the regular season, week 6. Excellent, diversified offense of the Dallas Cowboys with tons of weapons. This is a pick-your-poison offense. If you don't stop Zeke Elliott, you run into trouble all day long. If you stack the box and stop Zeke Elliott, you're still going to run into trouble because you've just chosen to allow Dak Prescott to go to not just Dez Bryant, Beasley, but also Jason Witten, who was described as a quarterback's best friend this morning. I think that's a very apt description of Jason Witten. This is a dangerous offense. Packers defense has been playing better of late, however, especially in terms of point totals. However, we have not played, and get this guys, we have not played a top 10 offense since we went on the run about 7-8 weeks ago. And so this is going to be a huge challenge for the Packers defense that has, been the beneficiary of playing against defenses that aren't quite as stacked as the Dallas Cowboys defense is. They are absolutely loaded, and they've got a quarterback that's playing at a very high level. So our defense, of course, job one. I just don't think we get it done if we don't find a way to bottle up and hold Zeke Elliott to, maybe that 70 to 90 yard range over the course of the game. I think would be adequate, perhaps. If we don't do that, this game could open up badly, because then what you're going to see is the Cowboys are going to be able to control the clock, keep Aaron Rodgers off the field, and that's going to hurt us, because we know we're going to have to score some points in this game if we're going to want to be successful and move on to a big showing against Atlanta in Atlanta, which would be another tough test. Atlanta, of course, winning yesterday afternoon against the Seahawks in a huge offensive showing. So the Packers defense is going to be up against it. The Packers offense, on the other hand, is the strength of the team. We know that Aaron Rodgers has been playing as good a football as we have seen in the NFL during this stretch. He's got 22 plus touchdowns over the last 8 games to close out the season, and then he had an awesome showing. Again, without Jordy Nelson against the Giants, who is a better defense than the Cowboys are on paper. However, the Cowboys did a good job against Aaron Rodgers in the Week 6 meeting. They were able to man up on the outside and play this sort of hybrid spy routine with the linebackers that would kind of contain Aaron Rodgers, make sure he didn't escape, but also were able to do a little bit of double duty and in covering the short routes. Now, one of the things that I'm looking forward to, and I posted about this morning, what is the one lesson offensively? There's 2 lessons we learned, I think, in this playoffs divisional round yesterday. One is offense wins championships. I know the saying is defense wins championships. There's a reason for that saying. The truth is, points win games and points win championships. Some years it's the defense, it's a dominating defense that does not allow another team to get points. Some years it is an offense that defenses just can't stop. This year it is an offensive round in the divisional round. These teams are winning by offense. Look at the characteristic of the Seattle Seahawks team. What are they known for? Great defense, Legion of Boom, which was pretty much put to rest yesterday afternoon. What are the Texans known for? Phenomenal defense, and they played phenomenal defense in that game. Who won both of those games? Now, I will say this, Atlanta's defense played an awesome game as well. But this round of the playoffs is going to come down to scoring points. We see that as characteristics of most of these teams right now. Defenses are going to need to play well, but most of these offenses are basically at some point pretty much unstoppable. Aaron Rodgers has been unstoppable. We look at what the Cowboys did before the playoffs. Of course, this is their first game in the playoffs. And you look at, for example, the Houston Texans, who played phenomenal defense, but could not get it done on offense. And Osweiler's only good pass of the day, just about, of the afternoon, was dropped by the receiver anyway. So what we're seeing, number one, is this is going to be an offense-driven playoffs, and an offense, and the best offense may be standing at the end of the Super Bowl this year. Secondarily to that, one of the keys this round, in the divisional round that you saw, and I know you guys caught this too, Atlanta, we knew this about Atlanta because we faced all these teams already once this year. Atlanta's throwing to Freeman and Tevin out of the backfield. The running back out of the backfield was crucial in both of these games. Freeman and Coleman, I think one of them had a ground touchdown, one of them had a touchdown through the air. And then you saw what James White was able to do for New England, kind of turn the tide in that game with a beautiful pass out of the backfield, over the shoulder catch. So one of the things that we're seeing as a difference maker right now, and maybe in the NFL as a whole, but definitely in this playoffs, is this a running back who can be a receiver coming out of the backfield, moving over into the slot. The play action that comes out of that has a great effect on offenses right now. What does one name on the Packers team spring to mind when we talk about a running back who is a great receiver? Guys, Christine Michael has been my dark horse all week, but I am changing my tune. I think this could be Ty Montgomery's time to shine. The guy is an absolute physical specimen. He's fast, he's a smooth athlete, but he started out as a wide receiver. He knows all the routes. And now he's played enough running back that in this game, having Ty Montgomery come out of the backfield, the bubble screens, the slants, maybe moving over into the slot and taking a slant, getting inside of that linebacker rather than the vertical route, could be absolutely huge in this game. So I am looking for Ty Montgomery to have a good game. And by that, I don't necessarily mean that he has 80-plus yards or 75-plus yards. If he has these 3 or 4 crucial first downs that we're going to need to keep that clock ticking and to keep Aaron Rodgers and the Packer offense moving down the field without Jordy Nelson, I think it could be absolutely key to this game. And we've seen how important it was against great defenses, the Seattle Seahawks, the Houston Texans. What you've got is a running back comes out of the backfield, and now you've got a mismatch. If you've got a guy who's fast, a guy who's a little lighter, but a guy who also can run a great route, these linebackers are going to struggle, and it becomes a mismatch. And we all know the saying that this is a game of matchups, and that's exactly what we saw yesterday in both games, both of the winners, with some fairly sound play and a couple of significant plays by running backs out of the backfield. Watch for Ty Montgomery. He might have a major part to play in this game. So offensively, I've said I think we're going to need to get a little bit of a running game going as well. Of course, that helps you with that play action. Ty Montgomery, I think, could be a big key to this. But you know that this is why it didn't work out for us in the first outing against the Cowboys in Week 6, is we turned the ball over too many times. Aaron Rodgers was off, and the receivers weren't catching the ball when it was there. So we're going to need to throw Aaron Rodgers into rhythm early and then get a little bit of a running game going. We've got to manage the clock to some extent in this game. I think we can still win if it's a shootout because I believe in Aaron Rodgers over Dak Prescott. If we've got to just be firing the ball down on vertical routes, I'd take Aaron Rodgers in that case. But what's going to happen if we try to get into a shootout, let's say we score in a minute-and-a-half drive, then Cowboys are going to come out on the field. They're going to run Zeke Elliott down our throats. They're going to take up 4 or 5 minutes. They're leading. I think they led the league or were second in the league in time of possession, and that is not the game we want to play. We're going to need to possess the ball a bit ourselves and keep that high-powered, loaded offense off the field. So that's, and then you add to it, that's one thing that hasn't been talked about much. And I think the Packers' special teams improvement in the last few weeks might be critical because, again, not just time of possession, but what about field position battle in this game? How important is that going to be? And you got the Cowboys who can absolutely have the tools to manage field position. If Jacob Shum keeps having a good game and can keep us in the field position battle, and if we can get a couple of good returns, we've got some good work out of Michael and Jeff Janis, who is going to be dinged up in this one with that thigh bruise. Then we're going to put ourselves in a position to win this game. But this is definitely going to be a tough one, and not playing at Lambeau certainly isn't going to make it any easier. It's going to be loud in there. A lot has been said about the experience of the Packers in the playoffs, and I think that is going to factor into it, hopefully. And then you add to that the rest versus rust conversation as to whether the Cowboys might be a little bit rusty, maybe make a mistake. We saw the Seahawks game really get away from them the minute they made the mistake and ended up with the safety in the end zone. Russell Wilson, his center or whoever it was, stepping on his foot. So these games oftentimes come down to who makes the least mistakes. And early on, the challenge for the Packers is going to be get this crowd quieted down. But on the other side of the ball, the challenge, I think, for an absolutely healthy Cowboys team, they're virtually perfectly healthy at this point, which kind of sucks to think about. But the challenge, though, for them is this rest versus rust and the fact that they haven't been here before. Aaron Rodgers has won a Super Bowl in this very same arena, and we'll see if he can go ahead and do enough to help us move on, along with the defense and the special teams, to help us move on to the big-time matchup with the Atlanta Falcons. It's where we want to be. We want to punch our ticket to Atlanta, guys. Well, I hope that chatting about the Packers, listening to me blab about the Packers, narcissistically out here in the middle of nowhere with everybody driving by wondering what I'm up to, I hope it helps. I hope it calms you down a little bit. I don't know. It's definitely going to be a challenge of a game. I don't see any guarantees in this one. However, I think I'm looking at a Giants team that had a much better defense. I think we had a chance. None of these teams are quite as unfamiliar because we played them. And I think the Packers have a chance in this one. I got the Packers 35-24. I think whatever team scores 30 first is probably going to win it in this one. And, of course, I hope that's the Green Bay Packers. I think we are well-equipped, even without Jordy, even though we're going to miss him. I think we're well-equipped to score on this Cowboys team. The question, to a great extent, will be how well our defense fares against the Cowboys, who also have a loaded offense. All right, folks, well, I will let you go. I am going to jump on the Facebook page at facebook.com/Green Bay Packer Nation. I will be going live. I may be going live twice today just because I'm freaking out. But I hope you enjoyed this Out of Breath Armstar Packer Minute, and catch up with me on facebook.com/Green Bay Packer Nation if you want to see some of the live shows so you can get notified of that. And I will catch you on the other side, hopefully, of another big Packer win. Go Pack.